So I'm coming up on just about a month with the S22 Ultra, and let me tell you, this device has been absolutely fantastic. There are some things that I do want to get into that I do want Samsung to take a look at, improve through software, and pretty much the things that I have in terms of like the cons, Samsung can improve in software. So we're gonna do this how you guys already know we do. 3 pros, 3 cons. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So kicking things off and getting right into the hardware and design. And let me tell you, Samsung's already been a leader when it comes to design with their mobile devices. I think the S22 Ultra just takes that to another level. They're really making a statement with this particular design, in my opinion, really saying like, we make some of the best hardware in mobile, and I think it really shines through on the S22 Ultra. I've always been a fan of Samsung's design in terms of the Note line. The Note line has always been one of my favorite, the more boxier edges. I've always been a fan of, rather than the more rounded S21 Ultra style curves. I know that that's definitely subjective and a personal choice, but again, being a fan of Note, I'm absolutely in heaven. Another aspect that I do have to bring up in terms of the hardware and the design is that S Pen silo, and Samsung didn't take the easy route when it came to building in the S Pen. A couple of years back when we got the Note 20 Ultra, Samsung decreased the battery capacity to about 4,500 milliamp hours in order to slot that S Pen in. But with the S22 Ultra line, they actually kept the battery the same size at 5,000 milliamps and still was able to squeeze in the S Pen, man. So like I said, shout out to Samsung for a great design and overall great hardware. I don't think you can really complain with this type of hardware whatsoever. Next up, what would be a Samsung, follow-up or review without talking software? Samsung's always been one of the companies who, throw in literally everything in hopes that you'll find a few things that you absolutely love. And they've definitely, I would say, toned down in terms of like the silly kind of features and started to really add things that actually add value to your user experience. I have to always point to Good Lock, because a lot of people don't know about Good Lock, whether they just, have never used it or if they're not in a region that offers it, because Good Lock is still, unfortunately, region based. Hopefully Samsung can fix that in the future, but having access to something like Good Lock on top of the features that they already offer, just stop getting the phone out of the box, makes Samsung, in my opinion, one of the best values in terms of what you get for your money. Having things like separate app sound where you can literally, send, Spotify media to a speaker, but still be watching a YouTube video on your phone somewhere, across your house, or other things like floating windows, which not all Android manufacturers still have native. Being able to, like I said, have like those little bubble chats, but be applications that you can kind of invoke when you need them and, kind of put them off to the side. Samsung still continues to be one of the best in terms of their multi-window experience, from being able to, organize which app is on the top and the bottom without having to completely cancel your entire, multi-view experience. When it comes to features, Samsung, in my opinion, is definitely second to none. There's honestly way too many features for me to even go over in this particular video, just because we'd be here for well over an hour. But definitely, if you pick up a Samsung phone, you really have to dig through. There's features that I'm still finding, just yesterday or today that I didn't know that the phone offered. So it's definitely a ton of features and a ton of value in there. Just got to be willing to dig through those settings and turn stuff on. And then the last pro that I want to get into has to be the camera set. Now, from a camera output perspective, we'll definitely get into that a little bit later, but the thing that makes the camera on a flagship Samsung slab phone, a pro for me personally, has to be the versatility. When you're in that ideal lighting situation, you have a lens for whatever situation you find yourself in. If you're in a situation where you need to fit more in the frame, they've got a great ultra wide camera. When you switch over to that main camera, you're getting phenomenal photos. Honestly, some of the best that I've seen on a smartphone. Yes, including the Pixel 6 Pro. Again, when you're in ideal lighting, you switch over to, those two telephoto lenses, one at 3x, one at 10x. Say, for example, you're at a concert or a zoo, or you're watching a show or something like like that. You have the versatility, and that's still something that I do miss whenever I say go back to the iPhone, which doesn't have dedicated zoom, or when I go to my Pixel, not having access to that actual ultra wide. So it's definitely a situation where you kind of get all the tools for any scenario that you're gonna find yourself in. So when you're looking at it from a versatility standpoint, it's honestly really tough to beat Samsung. They have awesome cameras in terms of, like I said, ideal lighting scenarios for the 2 telephotos, because when you get low light, it obviously has to crop in digitally. Nobody likes that. Samsung put bigger sensors in your telephoto camera so I can use them in low light. Just saying. But anyway, like I said, it's honestly nothing that I can take away from the phone in the camera department in the versatility regard. So Samsung continue knocking it out the park in terms of versatility for your camera set. They even have, you know, really good video. The video also did take a leap forward. I would still say in terms of the video itself, you get a little bit of over sharpening. So in that regard, I do tend to still prefer my output from the iPhone, but just because of the over sharpening, I honestly do believe that Samsung is probably the closest to Apple in terms of video from the phones that I've personally used. So Samsung keep killing it in the camera versatility department. Now let's talk cons. I'm gonna preface this by saying, one, none of the issues that I'm going to talk about I feel are deal breakers for this device. I think even with these 2 things that could be fixed in software, I still think that this is a phenomenal phone, and overall, pound for pound, probably the best smartphone you can currently get, right? But as a tech reviewer, it's not up to me to decide whether or not I should talk about a con, or if this con is more important than this con, or whatever. No, it's on me to give you all the information and let you decide what's going to work best for you. So being a tech reviewer, I'm going to do just that. Now, first con I want to get into is going to be the whole delayed updates. If you guys follow me on Twitter, which if you don't, you definitely should, I put out a tweet quoting, you know, Max Weinbach's comment on the fact that Samsung is currently delayed with their updates for, you know, the S22 Ultra, or whatever the case may be, right? So I don't innately have an issue with companies delaying updates. I mean, to be 100% honest, if companies did delay updates, we probably would see less bugs than what we do, you know, normally in terms of our devices. But what I have an issue with is the fact that if we're going to delay an update, we have to keep that same energy when we're talking about all these companies as a whole, right? Prime example, Google delays a software update, everybody cries and moans. I get it. People are saying, oh, well, the Pixel actually had a ton of issues. My experience with the S21 Ultra has been phenomenal. I understand that perspective, but even still, a delayed update is a delayed update, regardless of the reason. On top of that, the reason why this update is delayed is because of Samsung's backlash that they got with the whole GOS situation, which, again, I'm not up to verse on, and I honestly don't care. I haven't noticed any difference in my device or anything like that, or anything negative, so it doesn't matter to me. But the way around that would have just been for Samsung to include an option to turn off GOS, which is what they're doing, by the way, with this update. They should have just done that from the start. Just do that from the start. Then you don't have to worry about delaying updates or people crying about the GOS situation. So ultimately, the way I see it, they could have easily prevented all of this whole delay or whatever the case may be had they just done that in the beginning. Give people the option, let people turn off if they want to, and we wouldn't be 3 months behind on software updates. The phone currently says January. Phone came out in February, so it was already a month behind. We're 3 months behind. That's all I'm saying about that. Next up, let's go ahead and talk. You already knew it was coming, shutter lag. So this is another one where I put out a tweet, people got in their feelings about it, whatever the case may be. Again, anytime I put out a tweet or talk about something in a negative light, it's because it's an experience that I'm noticing and that I'm having. Shutter lag is no different. Instead of talking about what exactly, you know, shutter lag is, I've already done that at length. Check out the S21 Ultra day at Disney if you want kind of more perspective on what exactly it is, right? But just getting right into it, I went ahead and shot a video so I can show you guys the exact, lighting scenario and, the speed of motion and all of that, so you guys can see where I'm coming from with this. So I went ahead and shot a video to show you guys. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys these samples. So the phone on the left is the S22 Ultra. The picture on the right is the Pixel 6 Pro, which is known to have, pretty much instant in terms of shutter speed. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is a deal breaker, right? But the fact that I have to find workarounds for a $1,200 purchase, in my opinion, is acceptable. We shouldn't be finding a solution as in, well, let's just work around the device. No, we should be using those workarounds while we're continuing to be on Samsung's butt about fixing the issue permanently. Samsung cameras didn't always have shutter lag. This is, I would say, it's been years since they've had it, but it's not something that, since the S7 or S6 that they've had. I remember Samsung talking a lot about how fast it was to get into their camera app and take a photo. Well, you're gonna need a fast shutter speed in order to be able to do that, right? So like I said, ultimately, this isn't going to affect everybody. If you don't have, kids who don't want to sit still, which is most kids in all honesty, or fast moving pets, it's honestly not gonna affect you. You're not gonna notice it. But for people like me who, 90% of the photos that I take are photos of my kids, especially my newborn, which I can't tell a newborn, sit still so I can go ahead and take this picture. Like, that's not a thing. So ultimately, like I said, it's something that I'm going to continue talking about until Samsung actually fixes it. I don't care if it's 5 years, 6 years, however long I'm doing YouTube, I will continue to be the voice that says, Samsung, you need to fix this. And when they do fix it, I'm gonna tell those same people, no, continue using burst mode, continue using single take, all of that. And also, by the way, in that photo comparison, I did wipe the lenses and I also did use the tracking autofocus feature. I took another example and I'll flash that now. That way you guys can see what that looks like. Yes, it did better than the first photo. It's still blurry and it's still way too soft. So ultimately, Samsung, please fix your shutter lag, please. So that was the cons, guys. And like I said at the top, if those are the only things that I can talk about or complain about when it comes to this particular device, Samsung absolutely nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. Just because I'm making mention of issues with the device doesn't mean that I'm bashing the phone or I don't like the phone or I hate my purchase. Like, no, as a tech reviewer, I want this stuff to get better. Whether it's HDR issues with the iPhone, whether it's the Pixel's fingerprint sensor not being ultrasonic and being a little finicky. I talk about these things because I want them to be better for everybody. I want them to be better for everybody. So just keep that in mind before you comment down below. But that's gonna do it for the video today, guys. This has been my 1 month with the S22 Ultra. And trust and believe, the 1 month is continuing. This S22 Ultra isn't going anywhere. Absolutely love the phone, guys. But thank you as always for watching. This is Ike'sTechTalk. I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.